Looking for. Oh, what the stop early, and Dolph Ziggler rolled out of harm's way. Rollins in control. Raw continues.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
You know, I think commercials get a bad rap. They tell you about cool products, they give you a chance to make a snack run to the kitchen during your favorite shows, and they're one of the biggest ways that your favorite YouTubers make money when you watch their videos without ad block. You are watching without ad block, right? And two things that go together like peanut butter and jelly are commercials and video games. There are some amazing commercials promoting the latest video game or the hot new console, the kind of ads that get you really hyped to step into these incredible new worlds and test your skills as a gamer. These are not those commercials. Yeah, so I kinda just wanted to talk about some video game commercials today. Whether they're bizarre, unusual, part of some unlikely crossover, or just aren't that great at selling you a video game based on terrible creative choices. So yeah, let's talk about some weird video game commercials. Might as well kick things off with a commercial that actually inspired this video in the first place, one for a classic of the Nintendo 64, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Released in North America in October of 2000, it's definitely one of the darker and more surreal entries into the franchise, so it's probably no surprise that the ads that promoted it were also pretty weird and kinda dark. The one that I'm sure lots of folks remember is the one showing lots of different people from different countries and cultures, all looking up to see a giant moon about to crash into the earth. Kinda like the super evil prime material for my nightmares moon from the game itself, and then there's just this one dude in a pristine looking room playing the actual game, as live footage of what I assume is his gameplay is played on broadcast worldwide as the moon is coming down, which basically means the fate of the world is in the hands of this one solitary gamer. It's like the world's most morbid Let's Play. My first viewing of it wasn't even this version of it. See, the version of this that I saw not too long ago was a slightly edited version that, for some reason, features pro wrestlers Matt and Jeff Hardy, collectively known as the Hardy Boys. Now, it's not like this is the first or the last time wrestlers have appeared in commercials over the years, and especially not in that same time frame. Hell, we've also had Kane using his demonic hell powers to cook Chef Boyardee, the always iconic Macho Man Slim Jim ads, and even Sting violently assaulting a small child for the unpardonable crime of drinking Sprite. Anyway, in this alternate version of the commercial, and I'm sorry in advance, but I looked high and low, and this apparently is the best quality that anyone is ever going to see this commercial in again. There's a crossfade, and we're taken to a WWF SmackDown event, and Jeff Hardy actually freezes mid-air so that both Hardys, and the crowd at large, can watch our gamer savior protect the world with his hashtag gamerstrong skills. And then we get this absolute gem of a line delivery by Matt Hardy.
He's got 72 hours to save the world.
Before we get some kind of info about some sort of contest revolving around WWF's Armageddon pay-per-view, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what the contest was or how to enter it because, again, the only version of this ad that I could find looks like it has more VHS tape decay than a softcore porno. Like, I'm guessing the contest was for tickets for the pay-per-view or something, but if they really wanted to cross-promote WWF Armageddon 2000 with Majora's Mask, they should have had the giant evil moon make a run-in somewhere on the pay-per-view. Hell, the Hardys didn't even win their match on that show. Just saying, I'm pretty sure they would have beaten the Radicals if Dean Malenko just got obliterated by a giant moon crashing into the Civic Center. You know, I wish I could say that this commercial was the weirdest thing that the Hardy Boys have ever done in their wrestling careers, but
Fight! Ah, yes. Yes, 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 Joe, yes, Joe, punish him, punish him.
yeah, no, it's not even close, actually. Okay, so that was a little bizarre, but hey, it's Nintendo, you know, wholesome, family-friendly Nintendo. I'm sure that Majora's Mask thing was just a product of the time. I mean, it's not like their early commercials were anything to— what the fuck is that thing?
We challenge all players. You cannot beat us. You cannot beat us. We are Nintendo.
Dude, These are probably the best graphics I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, so this is one of the earliest commercials for the original NES. It came out around 1986 and only aired in Australia, and someone apparently thought it would be a good idea if a bunch of video game characters popped out of your TV screen, mocked your skills as a gamer, and looked like they were gonna try and suck you into some kind of video game hellscape. And it features all of your favorite Nintendo villains, you know, all the big ones. Bowser, Lakitu, the Duck Hunt Dog, one of the dudes from the Money for Nothing video. Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and breeze past this one because I'm genuinely scared that one of these monstrosities is somehow gonna retroactively eat my soul in 1986, and that's 4 years before I was born. Hey, 18 to 24-year-olds representing the biggest demographic watching my videos, who here is a fan of R&B legend Lou Rawls? No, it's cool. I'll just give you a second to Google it. Christ, I'm old. No, but for real though, even if you've never heard him singing, you probably have heard his voice, as he portrayed a mailman named Harvey on the hit Nickelodeon show Hey Arnold. Of course, Hey Arnold wasn't the only 90s as hell thing Mr. Rawls lent his silky smooth voice to. He was also prominently featured in, I shit you not, what was essentially an extended commercial for Sega. In the summer of 1994, Sega PR staff handed out VHS tapes to those who attended that year's Consumer Electronics Show, designed to get people excited about the various titles that Sega were putting out in the near future, and apparently someone decided that the best way to get their super edgy, high energy, welcome to the next living room ad campaign to appeal to the kids was to employ a smooth-voiced R&B singer whose last charting single was in 1987. Credit to Lou Rawls though, he's clearly having fun with this, but his presence in the video just creates this really weird tonal dissonance between what Sega's trying to sell you and the person that they hired to sell it. Like, there's all these segments of this cool, chill guy with a pleasing, dulcet baritone voice, and then every so often you're just assaulted by the 90s. Please, if anyone has footage of this video in a better quality than I found it, I would love to get some kind of high quality version of this one part, right here. Just this, man. Famous singer-songwriter and legend of the R&B genre, Lou Rawls, holding a Sega Game Gear, levitating 3 feet above a sailboat that he was clearly never actually on. That's like that one edit I made ages ago in a video of me flying into space to slice a meteor in half with a sword, but I made that look crappy on purpose. Like, that was the joke. Oh, and I guess they also showed Sonic and Knuckles for about 10 seconds with no gameplay footage at all, but what? Sonic? No, whatever, shut up. Oh, hey, check out Echo the Dolphin. Hey, so remember earlier in the video when I said, just aren't that great at selling you a video game based on terrible creative choices? Yeah, this is kinda what I meant by that, because it's time to talk about that Mighty No. 9 commercial. Alright, look, I'm obviously no advertising executive, and I know that for those familiar with KJ Inafune's attempt to make a spiritual successor to Mega Man, the infamous pre-release trailer for it is just one on a list of many problems with Mighty No. 9, but I think I know enough about video games to know that when your highly anticipated, highly crowdfunded video game has already been hit with a bunch of delays, the last thing you should do with your commercial is belittle the demographic that's most likely to play it.
Stuff that'll make you faster and stronger and make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night.
Dad, was that your commercial?
I don't know.
Okay, being fair to Inafune and his team for a second, this trailer was not their fault. You can thank Deep Silver for that. But this is still one of the most perfect examples of how not to advertise your video game to people. You don't get any real idea of the story or the characters. The narrator is clearly trying way too hard to be hip and cool, like he's some kind of 90s snack food mascot. And seriously, just what are some of these lines, man?
Do you like awesome things that are awesome? And I know you like that combo-on-combo action. I'm ready. No one's talking to you, Vernon. Crazy addictive, like popping bubble wrap addictive. There's probably a dash that makes you breakfast. I don't know.
Wait, what?
Quick question. Is there a dash that gets you a refund? Alright, there's one more I want to talk about. It's another one from Sega, it's another unlikely crossover, and this one is definitely on the deep end of weird. So one of the ways that Sega thought to promote the Game Gear in 1993 was to team up with the Howard Johnson hotel chain just go with it, with a $3.5 million ad campaign called Kids Go Hojo with Sega. Just like a lot of Sega's other 90s advertising, it was super radical and cool, and included some sweet promotional materials you'd get for free if you'd stayed at a Howard Johnson at a given point between 93 and 95. Not only did they provide you with a Game Gear you could play while you stayed there, but kids also got an official Kids Go Hojo fun pack featuring badges, coloring books, and this from the 1994 pack, a VHS tape called Sega Game Gear Tips. It's basically meant to be an extended commercial for the Sega Game Gear, but the story told throughout it is like something out of the Twilight Zone. See, there's this middle-aged businessman who arrives at a Howard Johnson, and the first person he meets is this really excited, energetic bellboy in his 20s who exists in a world of jump cuts and has his own personal soundtrack of generic grunge, and he just cannot wait to tell this guy all about the Sega Game Gear and how kids go Hojo for Hojo. God, that's starting to get annoying. Anyway, the bellboy disappears, but then suddenly the same dude is behind the desk, and then he shows up again in the dining room, and he's also the pool attendant? Seriously, every single member of the staff is played by this one guy, which could only make the person watching this video think that either he's running the whole place by himself, or that everyone at Howard Johnson looks exactly the same because they all got assimilated Agent Smith in the Matrix style. Interspersed between all the segments of a man being harassed by homogenous, overzealous hotel staff are a series of tips for various Game Gear games, and to be fair, some are decent enough, but some of them aren't even useful tips. They're just like basic game controls, and then a couple of them are just telling you the plot? Please buy a Game Gear. For the love of God, just please buy a fucking Game Gear. We're getting curb stomped by the Game Boy and Nintendo is laughing at our sales numbers. Please just buy a Game Gear. And then the video gets even weirder, if you can believe it, because after about 12 minutes of this poor schmuck being driven to the brink of madness by seeing the same guy literally everywhere, the dude finally decides to go Hojo. And would you shut up? Anyway, he finally starts playing the Game Gear just as he's about to check out of the Howard Johnson, and the Omni employee shows him to his taxi, goes to get his tip, and the businessman is the employee?
What a twist!
And then it just ends with the Howard Johnson guy doing a Twilight Zone parody, but no, dude, fuck off. I have so many questions. Does this happen to everyone who stays at Howard Johnson? Does just staying at the hotel assimilate you, or do you specifically have to play a Game Gear at a Howard Johnson? Would you still be assimilated if you brought your own Game Gear from home? If all the employees look the same, then who is the original guy? Did Sega just snatch some dude off the street, or was he also some hapless businessman who saw the shiny allure of the Sega Game Gear and foolishly decided to go Hojo?
What do you bring me, Daddy? What color this way?
Thanks for indulging me while I yammer on about some weird video game commercials today. So what are some of your favorite video game commercials that you've ever seen? Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like if you liked it, subscribe for more in the future, share this video on your favorite social medias, and ring the bell so you'll always be notified when I upload. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, friendos.